Good evening. Today is Tuesday, February the 25th, 2025. This is a regular session of the School Board Trustees of School City of East Chicago. The time now is 6:05. The place is Block Middle School, 2700 Cardinal Drive in East Chicago, Indiana. This is also being shown via live stream at www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and not to be considered a public community meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Present. Trustee Rodriguez.
Present.
Trustee Taylor.
Present.
Madam President Gibson King.
Present. Item 102, Pledge Allegiance. Please, can we stand for the Pledge Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1.03, mission statement from our superintendent, Dr. Stevens Bonet.
Good evening, school board. The school city of East Chicago is committed to developing a community of lifelong learners who are empowered to access, process, evaluate, and ethically apply information in ever-changing global society.
Thank you, Superintendent Bonet. Now we'll have our presentation, 2.01, Etiquette and Advocacy Institute report from Dr. Leslie Yanders. No.
Okay, there we go. Now, can you all hear me? Okay. Let's try this again. Good evening, school board trustees, Superintendent Bernay, families and friends. I'd just like to present to you all, I had the great opportunity to go to an NSBA conference, the National School Board Association Conference, with our trustees from February the 2nd through the 4th in Washington, D.C., and I must say it was very enlightening. What I noticed is when you guys go to those conferences, you go to school. That's what it is. You guys go to school. So I learned a lot of information there. This is the first time, how can I turn that? Okay. This is the first time that this conference has been given together. The NSBA usually do two separate conferences. One was an equity symposium and an advocacy institute. This year, they put them together, and you had the Advocacy and Equity Institute. Our school board members, next slide, had the opportunity, once again, those workshops were very enlightening, very informative, and you felt like you were in a classroom. But not only were you learning something, just like in the classroom, is how do you apply it. So in these workshops, we learned a lot of information, and we're coming back to apply it. Some of the highlights from this conference centered on NSBA's advocacy. That was the most important thing, advocating for our children, federal updates. At the time that we were there was things going on, everything from, is he going to close the Department of Education? Who's the new Secretary of Education going to be? And I'm talking about our president. They had a lot of workshops on choice schools, school vouchers, cuts to funding, changes to the Department of Education, and action steps, which I'll get to, some action steps that you all can take. The first 100 days, this is one of the things, I know you guys probably can't see it, it's hard to see. They stressed the first 100 days of our president and some of the executive orders that he issued out, like ending radical indoctrination in K-12 schools. This order aims to block federal funding to schools, that any school that has the gender ideology or critical race, anything that teaches things other than male, female, the threat of funding being taken away, school choice initiative. Here in School City, East Chicago, we know how this has hurt us already with our children going to local charter schools as well as receiving those vouchers to attend private schools, and then the freedom of campus protest and freedom of speech. There were a lot of dynamic speakers. The first one was Brandon Farbstein. Brandon Farbstein gave his a really tear-jerking story about his experience with dwarfism. And he talked about growing up, and he had gotten to the point where he was being bullied so much, and he threatened to harm himself. And then he had that relationship with that one person, that librarian in the middle school, who kind of helped him turn it around and gain that confidence that he needs to go on. But this also led to him becoming a young advocate for the implementation of SEL and anti-bullying programs in the state of Virginia, which was passed. So that's why we have that today in the state of Indiana. We have mandated programs for SEL as well as anti-bullying. Dr. Robert Kelty spent most of his career on many of our Native American, like the Navajo Nation. And so his thing was advocating for many Native American students, and the fact that we have schools that are located in higher income areas. How do we provide the same programs such as IB to our students in our lower economic districts? Then Holly Robinson Peete, her story was very moving too as well. Not only is she an actor, a philanthropist, she's also an advocate for her son who has autism. So she talked about her story, and then I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm gonna let you hear from one of my favorite speakers at the end. So that's some of the speakers. So the breakout sessions included everything, as I mentioned before. So all of these breakout sessions that I have listed here centered on or talked about those subjects that I talked about before: funding for schools, advocating for students' rights. The one that I really found fascinating is because we have our students are performing very poorly in the math area. I attended what is called From Research to Results, Advancing Math Access for Equitable Student Success. A conversation that I've had with many of the administrators is what can we do differently to raise our math test scores for students? So they talked about implementing programs as early as 6th grade for algebra. So I've had this conversation with some of my administrators already on how we can move forward with bringing algebra at earlier grade level than waiting for them to get to 8th grade or 9th grade. And some of the moves that we can make will allow our students to graduate. I think the class of 29 and the class of 30 with the new diploma requirements will allow our students to graduate with those credentials in their hand, will allow our students to graduate with that associate's degree, not just that diploma. So we have to find a new way of doing school because we're doing school the same way we did it when we were in school, and we're dinosaurs, okay? So we have to find a different way than how it has been done. We talked about, I'm gonna go back to that. So last night, the subject of a balanced calendar was brought up. That's a different way of doing school. If you keep doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result, it's not gonna happen. That's insane. So just, we have to start to be innovative in our ways of providing services to our students. So those are just the number of sessions that we went through. So a day in the Capitol, one of the biggest highlights was a day in the Capitol with our Indiana Representative Frank Mervan. For those of you all that didn't know Frank, let's give him a round of applause. Frank was awesome. He was an awesome host. His staff were awesome. So these, I'm just going to take you through some quick pictures of the school board trustees as they visited the Capitol. This right here, stop right here. This guy right here, we put this picture in January 6th. That picture right there was that officer. We met him. He was there on January 6th. That is an actual picture from the insurrection that took place on January 6th. So it was an honor to meet that young man there during our visit to Washington, D.C. These are just some of the pictures. Pictures of, I think this one is Emancipation Hall, where it had various state representatives, diverse state representatives. Go on, next one. The original Supreme Court gallery, it was so dim, and we were like, are you going to turn on the lights? They said, well, they didn't have electricity back in the day, so this is what you get. Okay, this is the crypt. So the crypt is the area where, if you see the middle part, I don't know, for the historians, it's believed that George Washington's tomb or George Washington's casket is in there, is in that tomb. We found out that's not true. We kind of had a feeling. So this was just some of the pictures from that area. Very beautiful Capitol. Now this part right here, that's why I'm going quickly. I just would like for you all to take the opportunity. This was one of the best. Yeah, you're gonna hear me and Trustee King in the background doing because it's true, it's true, it was true, it was true. I just wanna take this opportunity. I don't wanna talk a lot. I want you to hear from someone who's advocating at a higher level for our students. If you could push on that link. Sanders, his last name. No, go back. Yes, no, maybe. It did what? Okay.
Some pictures of us too? Really?
That means we need better technology. We need better hotspots.
Oh, man.
It won't open? Okay. So I'll share with the board later on, and anybody else, if you ever stop by the administration building.
Yeah.
I really wish you all had the opportunity to listen to it. Senator Sanders had a very, you think it'll work from there? Mr. Ontiveros? Okay. So he talked about advocating for our children, about the need for us to invest in teachers. Are you out here? One of his biggest things is investing in teachers. In the urban area, in our urban districts, we pay our teachers less than most other districts, but yet we expect them to do more. Many of our students who are in the urban districts have more needs than many of the students in the suburban districts. But yet we continue to take funding away from the urban districts. It is up to you guys. You all have to start speaking up, advocating on behalf of not just your child, but the other children in the district. They mentioned and they gave out, if you can go to the next one, please. There are 6 major areas of great concern to improve student outcomes. The NSBA shared various ways to take action on fully funding and modernizing IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Act, expanding, strengthening, and retaining the educator workforce, strengthening investments in Title I and CTE. Those two subjects are subjects that we talk about all the time in School City of East Chicago. Promoting digital access, digital literacy, and cybersecurity. The board had the opportunity, I just want to bring this up, they had the opportunity to go to a couple of workshops as well as myself on the use of AI, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. It depends on the way that it's being used. Prioritizing student health, wellness, and safety. And opposing school vouchers in all their forms. That part right there, that one, opposing school vouchers. Opposing school vouchers. That one right there, opposing school vouchers. Thank you all so much. The administration building, we have these located in the front, and it also gives you some ways that you can take action on some of the 6 items that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Leslie Yanders. And now, we're going to go to 2.02, our Washington students, elementary students.
Good evening, School Board of Trustees, School City of East Chicago families and community. My name is Andrea Hogan. I'm the principal of Washington Elementary School. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Andrea Hogan, principal of Washington Elementary School. I'm going to bring to you, which I know many of you all are here to see, a presentation by our very talented scholars from Washington Elementary School. They are under the leadership of Ms. LaShanta Wade, and in his absence, Mr. David Labarsky. Ms. LaShanta Wade is our music teacher. David Labarsky is our art teacher. Now I'm going to call up our first speaker, Mr. Grady.
The artwork showcased on the green wall was made by Washington Elementary students. It is a selection of work from our upcoming Black History program. The two portraits of Frederick Douglass and Rosa Parks are a part of the Community Quilt Portraits project that the 5th and 6th graders produced. The portrait was drawn and then cut into 12 squares. Each student got their own square and had the creative liberty to fill in the squares as they want. The ending result gives a patch quilt vibe that shows what happens when people work together. The African masks are made by the 3rd and 4th graders. And finally, the Black History Month flags were made by kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade. Happy Black History Month from Washington Elementary.
Hi, my name is Mia. Hey Black Child by Eugene Perkins. Hey Black Child, do you know who you are, who you really are? Do you know you can be what you want to be? If you try to be what you can be. Hey Black Child, do you know where you're going, where you're really going? Do you know you can learn if you try to learn what you can learn? Hey Black Child, do you know you are strong? I mean really strong. Do you know you can do what you can want to do if you try what you can do? Hey Black Child, be what you can be, learn what you must learn, do what you can learn, and tomorrow you're a nation will be what you want it to be.
My name is Amari Matthews. Benjamin O. Davis, sir, was the first black general in the U.S. Army. He served for 50 years, beginning as a temporary first lieutenant during the Spanish-American War. Throughout his service, Davis was a professor of military science at Tuskegee and Wilberforce University. Commander of the 369th Infantry of the New York National Guard, and Special Assistant to the Commanding General, among other positions. He received the Bronze Star Medal and the Distinguished Service Medal and is buried at Arlington National Cemetery.
Why she didn't use the put on her could show things all week in the morning.
And change the world.
Nice. Oh, man. It's nice. That is really, really nice. Whew. Now we're going to go to item 3.01, approval of the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Presentation by Top 20. Yeah, put Top 20 right here. It's turned out real nice over there in school.
You ain't saying nothing.
I know it.
Good evening.
Oh, who for what?
Can you hear me?
Oh.
We are crayons. I may not be your favorite color, but one day we'll find that we need each other to complete the masterpiece. For it's in the blending of differences that the most beautiful pictures are painted, and together we create a story for greater than any single color could tell.
Come on back, people. Easy now.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun, weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for the people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on.
miles to freedom? Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm waiting through the waters. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on.
Harry, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
And I know what's around the bend might be hard to pass 'cause I'm young. And I just might fail, but I know I'll try. Shine stars stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, till you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on.
Oh, man.
This is America. Don't catch us slipping now. Don't catch us slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch us slipping now. Don't catch us slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch us slipping now. Look how I'm living now. Police be tripping now. Yeah, this is America. Comes in my area. I got the strap. I gotta carry him. Yeah, I'ma go in the deal. Yeah, this is Gorilla. Yeah, I'ma go get the bag. Yeah, I'ma get the bag. Yeah, I'm so cold like yeah. I'm so cold like yeah. Whoa, we gon' blow like yeah.
Tell somebody, you can tell somebody,
on my Kodak. Whoa, oh, know that. Hundred bands, hundred bands, hundred bands. Contraband, contraband, contraband. I got the flow number one hopper. Whoa, they gonna find you like blah. This is America. Don't catch us slipping now. Don't catch us slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch us slipping now. Don't catch us slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. 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 This is America.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Deborah Williams, in the top 20. Now we'll have item 3.01, approval of the agenda. Are there any comments from the public? Oh. To tell them to stay. Tell them to stay. Yeah, that's what Jesse said, they're leaving. You know, the kids are leaving. Oh. Item 3.01, approval of the agenda. Are there any comments from the public? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
Madam President,
Yes, Trustee Gomez.
I'd like to move for approval of the agenda 3.01.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Trustees, are there any remarks from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King?
Yes. Item 4, approval of the consent agenda. Are there any comments from the public?
Madam President,
You have to.
point of order, there's
sorry.
4.012.
Yeah, I skipped over something here. I'm sorry, the administrative report. Superintendent Dr. Bonet.
Thank you, President Gibson King, and good evening again. This is my superintendent's report for February 25th, 2025. February 24th through 28th is National Public Schools Week. This week is dedicated to honoring all of the efforts put forth by public schools, educators, and advocates. I want to take this time to thank our dedicated staff at the School City of East Chicago, our School Board of Trustees, and our various community partners who support our mission on a daily basis. Every February, the Career Technical Education, or CTE community, celebrates CTE Month to raise awareness of the role that CTE has in readying learners for college and career success. It's a time to recognize the value of CTE programs and their impact on students, communities, and industries. I want to take this time to recognize our CTE students who have reached various milestones at East Chicago Central High School. 3 students have completed a 75 or more work-based learning experience. Let's congratulate them. They are on the screen.
Yes.
Six students have earned 9 dual credits in their pathway. And 8 students have completed a CTE pathway. Let's give them a hand as well. These student success stories would not be possible without the hard work and efforts of the entire CTE department. Let's recognize them as well during the month of February. We also would like to highlight Ms. Shanari Taylor, who has been accepted to Butler University.
All right, all right.
She is a 21st century scholar, a 4-year soccer varsity player, volleyball, basketball, and track and field. Shanari managed to do all of this while maintaining a 3.86 GPA. Not only has she managed to complete several credits in the dual credit program, one of our CT programs, she also is ranked number 14 in her graduating class. As we go from the classroom to the courts, successful semi-state wrestling tournaments were hosted by East Chicago Central on Saturday, February 15th, and Amari Leak, who was EC Central's first regional champion since 2009, was the only Cardinal wrestler to participate and represent Cardinal Nation. We hosted more than 50 schools and 224 wrestlers at the event with an attendance of 4,000 fans and spectators. We want to recognize the efforts of our athletics department under the direction of Director Graylin Gordon for a successful event. Thank you. Dominique Murphy became the school city of East Chicago's all-time boys basketball leading scorer. When we set about our theme to recognize those who are making significant contributions, who are African American during Black History Month, we talked about those who are in the past, and we talked about those who are present. Dominique represents the future.
All right, yes.
We are starting the strategic planning process. There will be multiple opportunities for all of our stakeholders to participate, including surveys and focus groups. More information regarding the strategic planning will be forthcoming. And finally, our pre-K and kindergarten roundup event will take place on March 20th at Kerry Gosh from 9 a.m. to noon and from 1 to 3 p.m. For more information, please check the website for specific details and the necessary documents you must bring to register. President Gibson King, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Bernay. Now we'll have our Chief Finance Officer, Mrs. Simmons.
At this time, I'm going to yield my time to Attorney Harris and also Bond Representative, I can't think of your first name.
James Shanahan.
James Shanahan.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Madam President, if I could?
Yes.
All right. So you'll see on the agenda under new business that there is item 6.06, which is approval of a bond resolution for 2025. The school district will be, subject to the approval of the board, will be issuing general obligation bonds in the amount of $6.5 million in order to complete much-needed HVAC improvements to our schools. We've invited our bond counsel, James Shanahan from Taft Law here, to provide an overview of kind of how the bond process works. In item 6.06, you'll be asked to adopt 3 resolutions, which can't all be adopted at one time, but there are 3 resolutions there, just so we're clear. Also, tonight is a time that we have reserved for a public hearing on the bonds. So I think we should do that after we get an overview from Attorney Shanahan so that people are a little bit more aware before they have that opportunity to speak. So Attorney Shanahan, did you want to provide the overview now, and then we'll deal with the vote a little bit later in item 6.06, please?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Harris. As Attorney Harris mentioned tonight, bond-related items. First is a public hearing, which is a chance for the public to hear more about the projects and the costs and also the need, and then also for the board to ask any questions. And then there are 3 resolutions that are bundled up into that bond resolution, item 6.06. One of those sets forth the parameters for the project pursuant to state law. The second authorizes the issuance of the bonds. And the third appropriates the proceeds, which gives you the authority to spend the money once received. So we can talk further when we get to item 6.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, the board can ask questions now or obviously ask questions once we get to agenda item 6.06. It's up to you.
We'll wait till we get to 6.06. Thank you. We're going to, item number 5, the consent agenda. Are there any comments from the public? Is there a motion for approval of consent agenda?
Madam President,
Yes.
I just have one correction.
Yes, Trustee
on-
Taylor.
Thank you. 5.04 on donations.
Okay.
The donation made by EC Central alumni, it's titled 1985, but it's really class of 95.
Okay.
However, that's just how the donation came across, but it's on behalf of the East Central alumni.
Okay.
So I just want to make that, because 1985 likes to take credit.
Okay, this is from the class of 19?
It's actually the entire EC Central alumni, but the way the donation came in, it was
Okay.
set up with class of 95, being that the chair is Diana Darden, who's class of 95.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make that distinction.
Thank you for that distinction, Trustee Taylor.
Madam President, I move for approval of
Yes.
consent agenda.
Approval made from a motion by Trustee Gomez.
Second.
Second by Trustee Smith. Any questions from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King?
Yes. Now we're going to new business. Approval of the personnel report. Are there any comments from the public?
Good evening, Superintendent Bornase, Dr. Bornase, Madam President, and Board Trustees. I am currently requesting that line item number 8 on the personnel report be tabled, given the involuntary transfer is currently under grievance. The outcome of the grievance wasn't rectified, so therefore it moves on to the next phase, which is pre-arbitration. The administration and labor attorney have taken their stance on their position to keep the involuntary transfer permanent and disregarding what the grievance hearing officer informed them of. So once again, I respectfully ask that the school board please table line item number 8 given the grievances had advanced on to the next process, to the next phase of the process, which is pre-arbitration. Secondly, I'm also requesting that line items number 4, 5, 6, 7 in the personnel report be tabled due to these positions are union-held positions and in accordance with SEIU 73 and the CBA, and in Article 6, Sections 1 and 2, these job postings must be posted for 14 calendar days to allow the opportunity for senior union members to be a part and bid on the positions first. It is clearly a violation of the CBA, and with that being said, the HR and administration are setting up for multiple grievances to be filed due to the failure of not complying with the CBA. I respectfully ask that the board take action and table these items so the administration can do their due diligence and post these positions in a rightful manner to allow seniority employees an opportunity to participate in the bidding process. Finally, items number 9 and 10. It's the same thing I'm requesting. Line items 9 and 10 be tabled due to these positions are union-held positions and must allow the ability for senior employees to bid. And in the CBA as well, a transfer must be posted, either involuntary or transfer, they must be posted first. So therefore, that is a clear violation of the CBA in Section 6, Article 6, Section 1 and 2 will clearly clarify what the process is and how positions should be posted. Thank you. That concludes what I have on the line items, tabling the line items. Thank you.
Are there any more public comments? Is there a motion for approval of the agenda? Personnel report.
Madam President, make a motion for approval.
Motion made by trustee Smith,
I'll second that motion.
second by trustee Rodriguez. Are there any comments from the board?
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
I'm not as familiar with the contract as, I'm assuming Attorney McCain is. Attorney McCain, could you address the questions that were brought forth?
Thank you, Trustee Gomez. This is my first hearing of Mr. Castillo's grievances with respect to those various line items. I'm happy to study the matter and advise the board, but I cannot do it here instantaneously. I suspect that the Human Resources Department and the various departments already conducted their due diligence in making sure that the jobs were posted according to the CBA. And without any additional knowledge, I will leave it up to the board, of course, to render its decision.
And I'm,
No,
Madam President.
no. Just trustee Smith.
Thank you. Just to continue on, I hope that we wouldn't find ourselves getting into a situation like that. So I'm going to ask for a secondary motion to pull those agenda items from the personnel report until we've had some more clarity from the HR department.
So you want to pull what item now?
I'd like to make that in the form of a motion. And I'm sorry I didn't write those down.
Is-
Take away the whole person.
HR, but she's not here. Oh, is she? Oh, well, does she want to get up and speak, HR? Is she here? Yeah. What's the name?
Dr. McJunkins, are you able to come and address the concerns from the board members? Thank you.
Here it is, right here, Jason. Let's take it.
Thank you.
Dr. Angles. I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
There was a question regarding if the positions for full-time custodians have been posted per the CBA.
They were posted internally.
You said, excuse me, you said, I know, excuse me.
They were
Stop talking to Mrs. McJunkin.
They were posted internally, and Mr. Castillo also applied for one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ms.
we'll
Simmons.
let Mrs. Simmons speak. Thank you.
Dr. Jenkins is underway losing her voice.
She stated that the positions were posted internally.
Okay, thank you.
And what was
Okay.
the second part?
What's the second part? Order, please. Thank you. Thank you.
What was the second part?
Can we remove Mr. Castillo, please?
So the most seniority person received the position.
Okay. But can we, thank you. Okay, thank you. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Madam President.
I'm sorry.
I just had one final comment.
Yes.
And that was just it.
Pardon?
And I just had a final comment. That was that I know the community's been asking for us to revert back to the way we had previously done the personnel report, and I'm in favor of that. I feel that this still does not show the community transparency that we would, that they would expect from the board. So absent the information it's hard for the public to come up and talk about an agenda item when they don't have information. So until that happens, this is a no vote for me.
Okay, then. Thank you. Madam Secretary, roll call. I'm sorry, Trustee Rodriguez, you want to say something?
I guess there was a motion on the table. Was there a second?
Well,
There was not.
Did
I withdraw that.
he
I'm sorry.
withdraw the
Yeah.
motion?
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez,
No.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
No.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King.
Yes. Item 6.02, approval of the 2025-2026 school calendar. Are there any comments from the public? Is there a motion for the approval of the 6.03 school calendar?
Madam President, I make a motion to approve 6.02.
Motion made by Trustee Gomez, for 6.03, second by Trustee Taylor. Are there any questions from the board?
Madam President,
Yes.
just a comment. I wanted to follow up with Dr. Yander's comment regarding doing something different. I know I've been on this bend for balanced calendar for a long time now, and my thought on it is that, that this would help minimize learning loss. I heard from both her and Ms. Gutierrez yesterday, and they didn't at least seem that they were against it. So I would hope that we continue talking about this, keeping this active. If we're going to improve our grades, I think it's, doing the right thing, and one of those right things might be to consider a balanced calendar in the future.
Thank you, Trustee Gomez. Are there any more comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Madam President Gibson King.
Yes. 6.03, approval of the hotspot for 2025-2026 school year. Are there any questions from the audience? Is there a motion for the approval?
Madam President, make a motion to approve item 6.03.
Trustee Rodriguez approved.
Second.
Second by trustee Gomez. Are there any comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes. Item 6.04, approval of NICA agreement for internet and wide area network services. Are there any comments from the public?
President Gibson King,
Yes.
I would like to request that the board does not take action on item 6.04 at this time.
Yes. Okay.
Madam President?
Yes.
I make a motion then to table 6.04.
Okay, table it back, okay, table it, okay. 6.04.
Second.
Second by trustee Gomez. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes. 6.05, approval of network solutions for Lincoln Elementary Access Point. Are there any comments from the public? Is there a motion for approval of 6.05?
Madam President, make a motion to approve item 6.05.
Trustee Rodriguez approved.
Second.
Second by trustee Taylor. Are there any comments from the board? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes. 6.07.
Six.
6. This is the bond. And the approval of the bond resolution 2025.
Madam President?
Yes.
So with respect to item 6.06, approval of bond resolution 2025, tonight is our night for public hearing. That public hearing would be open now. We'll have Attorney Shanahan to again provide comments to the board, but it's your opportunity for the board and the public to ask questions or make comment with respect to the issuance of the bond. Yeah.
So are there any questions from the audience? Any questions from the board?
Madam President?
Yes.
I just have one question, Mr. Shanahan. So with regards to the bond itself, would this be a municipal bond in the market or a tax-free bond?
Yeah, so the interest on the bonds are exempt from income tax, which provides you the lowest possible borrowing rate and the cheapest borrowing. I think the plan is for it to be between 5 and 7 years of maturity. And the last time we did this, I believe, was in 2023. So the other important factor is that it's tax rate neutral, which means that this will be brought on as existing debt falls off, so there won't be any increase in your property taxes.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions from the board?
Madam President?
Yes.
If there are no further questions, the public hearing can be closed and the board can consider adoption of the resolutions for 6.06.
So is there a motion to approve 6.06?
Madam President?
Yes,
And I guess this is more of a consolidated effort with all of all three resolutions under item 6.06.
Yes.
So I make a motion to approve on bond resolutions for 2025.
Second by trustee Smith. Any questions from the Board of Trustees? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes. And now we will go to our public forum.
Madam President, you just walked out.
Oh, you did?
Well, that's the one you,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
only had one
Yeah, well,
person.
then there's nobody for the public forum then. Okay, trustees' remarks. Trustee Gomez. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to do the student, yeah. And Mr. Eggert, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, as I proceed, this is the second board meeting of February. Hello, everyone. I have come here with a chance to speak for the students. I would like to thank the board again for giving me the chance to voice these complaints. My report is as stated. The first thing I'll talk about is bathrooms. Whenever I ask new students what problems this district has, the most common answer that I hear is bathrooms. Number two, I spoke with members of the tennis team, and they have been complaining with the tennis courts and how they need to be repaired. And that's mostly what that team requests. And lastly, my report is another thing that comes up a lot still recently is the food quality and how it needs to be reworked because people are deciding not to eat. And this also affects our athletes because they're not getting the proper nutrition that they need. And that is all I have for today.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. Trustee Gomez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a few people I wanted to recognize today. One is Darrell Hughes. He was not a graduate of East Chicago schools, but he did grow up in the harbor. Attended high school with him over at Bishop Nolan. He received the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Blacks in Gaming. For those that don't know, the gaming industry is pretty big, and Darrell's been really active. Matter of fact, he spoke here at Block School a couple years ago, trying to engage minority kids, both black and brown, into the gaming industry, which, as I recall, you said that there's more money in the gaming industry than there is in the music industry and the movie industry put together. So I'm going to congratulate him on his Lifetime Achievement Award. Another quick note about Darrell and his family. His mother, Willa Hughes, is kind of like my second mother. She was a graduate of Calumet College, went back to school to get her degree. She graduated from Calumet College at 87 years old. So significant achievements by the family. The second person I want to recognize was Dr. James Comer, an IU grad, Howard University grad, University of Michigan grad, and Yale University grad. He's an author of 10 books, 450 articles, and he's also consulted with Sesame Street Workshop. Dr. Comer's written a number of books about education, particularly, again, the black and brown community. I think we should consider inviting him into one of our sessions at some point in time in the future. The third person I want to recognize is Ava Bell. She's an African-American teacher originally from Lincoln. She was the founder of the Hispanic Heritage Month program for the school city of East Chicago. And I want to congratulate her for going outside and thinking outside the boxes that Dr. Yanders had mentioned earlier. Finally, congratulations, Diana Mendoza. She's the Teacher of the Year for the School City of East Chicago. She achieved the highest scores. She achieved the highest scores on the I Read and I Learn assessments. Teacher for 30 years with the School City of East Chicago. Now teaching over at McKinley School. And Dr. Green, congratulations. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Trustee Gomez. Trustee Smith.
Good evening. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I'd like to say congratulations to all the students and their achievement. I'd like to say thank you to all of the students from all of the schools that participated in that Black History celebration for this month. You all did a tremendous job. I'm really proud of each and every one of you all. It's not about just Black history, it's about black and brown kids. And it's just about us getting together as one. I had a speech written, but we have so many people,
Yes.
prominent people from East Chicago that were the first African Americans to pave the way for us to be here.
Yes.
So I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm not going to call any names because I'll probably miss somebody. But thank you, Trustee Gomez, for Mr. Dr. Comer, Dr. Brooms. But most important of all, whether you know it or not, Bessie Owens, the Bessie Owens Center was the first African-American teacher in East Chicago, Indiana. That's where our center was named after Betsy Owens. We have so many, we got to, as I started doing my research, I mentioned Quinn P. Smith, we had Stevie Wonder, we have football players, Etwan, KK, we have so many. Our first African-American senator was Senator Lonnie Randolph. First African-American from East Chicago was Representative Earl Harris. I can go on and on. But this is what I really want to pinpoint. Society had depicted the Black Panthers as being militant. But I want you to know this. Because of the Black Panthers, we would not have the free food programs and lunch programs because of the Black Panthers. Whether you know it or not, they were the trailblazers for public schools, for the federal government providing free breakfast and free lunch. They were not militant. All they did was take care of their own. And I like to thank them because from Lyndon Baines Johnson, that program was developed. So that's how we got the free breakfast and lunch programs. So some history we have, they want to make it seem like it's, militant or they didn't matter. But so many trailblazers and so many people have provided a way for us to get the things that we are. And when we were in Indianapolis, I like to say to Representative Vernon Smith, I would not be sitting here if I had not had the opportunities for those who paved the way for us, black and brown. So I just like to tell you all, know your history, know where you've been so you'll know where you're going. And I tell the children that if you don't know where you've been, you don't have any idea where you're going. So I just wanted to throw that out, that's how the free breakfast and lunch came. It was the Black Panthers from Chicago, Illinois. That was, and I'm complete, I'm done. Thank you.
First, I'd like to, again, thank Dr. Anders for her wonderful presentation. Thank you. As well as the Washington Elementary, I call them the Washington Elementary School Wonder Kids because they were great. Amazing, great job. The top 20 dancers hypnotized me. It was so impressive. I want to give those kudos to those individuals and the students. Again, Diane Mendoza, teacher at McKinley, congratulations for her award that she received this past weekend. This month has flown by. I wanted to take this opportunity to share some of my experiences related to the federal and state legislations, as well as the NSBA Advocacy and Equity, as well as the State House. Some of my colleagues has attended the State House luncheon. Earlier in February, my colleagues and I had the opportunity of attending the NSBA Advocacy and Equity Institute in Washington, D.C. It was a great experience, especially as we expressed our concerns about the upcoming U.S. Senate bills that could significantly impact our public schools. We not only had the opportunity to discuss these issues directly with our U.S. senators, and that's U.S. Senator Young, as well as U.S. Senator Bratz, but we at the Capitol at Washington, D.C., we also met with Senator Frank Marvan and his great staff. They provided us with an insight perspective on education that emphasizes the importance of maintaining a robust public education for all students, regardless of race, religion, gender, or zip code. Mr. Marvan graciously shared personal stories and even guided us in a tour of the Capitol, including areas that are typically off limits. We looked up near the Capitol. We ended up looking up, I think it was Trustee Taylor who told me, I says, there's a guy with a gun just watching us go into the secret door that Mr. Marvan has allowed us to go in. So we're a little scared. At least I was. But then again, I would like to thank Frank Marvan and his staff for such a wonderful introduction, invitation to the Capitol. So that was great, and I just wanted to thank him for that. Just last week, we entered our 7th year for the Indiana School Board Legislative Luncheon. We discussed Senate bills, state Senate bills that we were against, as well as ones that we were for. And it is I just got to say, it's a sobering day as we witness the continuous debates surrounding our funding for public education. During lunch, we met with State Senator Lonnie Randolph, and he sat with us at the table, and we've learned a lot from him. And trust me, he learned a lot from us as well. But I will say this, to all the parents and teachers and faculties and staff, these bills affect us all. And we need to get involved in the process to ensure that we have better outcomes than what we're seeing right now. It's one of those situations where my colleagues and I, when we attend these events, we try to network, we try to learn as much as possible, but we're there with the loudest voices, fighting for East Chicago, protecting our students and their resources that may be taken away from them. So that's one of the things that I want to say, and thanks to my colleagues for their support. They can be loud sometimes, but at Washington, D.C., they were very boisterous and loud. Trust me. I want to leave this quote, and I'll tell you who actually stated this. He stated this this past week at the Capitol, and it goes like this: throughout the history of the United States, African Americans have endured extremely disparaging and harsh labor conditions, including slavery, economic inequality, and discrimination. In the fight to create change in the labor system, many courageous people have worked tirelessly to protect, advance, and empower the African American workforce through activism, community building, and labor unions. Due to these efforts, America has seen significant positive change to its values and beliefs, and the effort continues today. The foundation of our great nation is reliant upon the advancement of a strong workforce, one that provides opportunities and economic stability for all people. And that was a comment made at the Assembly, at the House, what do you call it, the House Committee at Washington, D.C. by Frank Marvan, our congressman. I want to extend a gratitude to the National School Board Association and the Indiana School Board Association for their commitment and hard work in support of public education in our state and around our country. That completes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Rodriguez. Trustee Taylor?
Thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me okay? If you've never been told, it's time for you to know your royalty. That really, really stood out to me in that presentation that Washington children did earlier. I don't think I've ever been told. And I think I'm going to make it a point to, when I walk by a child or I see any kids, I'm going to let them know you're royalty, because they need to know. They need to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Validated as such. So I want to encourage you all and challenge you all to do the same. Speak into a child and tell them that they are royalty. As we come into the end of Black History Month, I want to take a moment to reflect on what an incredible journey we've had for the month of February. I've learned so much about Black history right here in my own backyard. And watching our students tonight embracing their roots through this amazing, amazing performance, it was a powerful reminder of how history shapes our identity. This is generational. This is a generational empowerment in action. To the top 20 dance, that routine, there was a message in that routine, and I hope no one missed it. It was so powerful that as I was writing, the spirit of freedom is on that dance. That at that moment, as I was writing, they let out that scream. So I knew it was confirmation of what I was feeling. It was a powerful message, and that's what we need to embrace. That is part of the arts. That is part of the music and dance. That is an outlet for our kids. They need that. I can't stress how important we need to make that a priority and not an extracurricular activity. But let's just remember one thing, that Black history isn't just in February. We got to celebrate that every day. I heard one trustee say one time, I'm Black 365 days. Because without our history, we really, there's really no present or no future. So thank you to everyone in the community, everyone in our schools, even our trustees here on our board that shared so much information, so much knowledge, and worked together to ensure that those stories are being told and they're being preserved, because it's like a relay race. We continue passing the baton of history, moving forward in the pursuit of freedom and justice. Speaking of freedom, I'd like to take the opportunity to say, Feliz Día de la Independencia para todos los dominicanos de nuestra comunidad. Happy Independence Day to our Dominican students, families, and friends, and our neighbors here in our district as we celebrate that on February 27th. And if you allow me just a few minutes, I know we're a little way over time, but I want to share a little bit of history of the Dominican Republic. It is deeply intertwined with our Black history. The transatlantic slave trade reached the Dominican Republic in 1503 when the Spanish brought African slaves to work in the sugarcane plantations. Slavery was abolished in 1822 when the Dominican Republic became part of the Haitian Republic, an island that we now know as La Hispaniola. They share one island, and is divided between Spanish and French. On February 27th of 1844, the Dominican Republic declared independence from Haiti, and to this day, one side of the island speaks French and one side of the island speaks Spanish. So as you can see, my roots, like so many others, run deep in African heritage. I proudly identify as Afro-Latina, a product of colonial Latin America, shaped and molded by African ancestry. And that makes me incredibly proud. A fun fact about me, I am the first Dominican-born American of my family here in the United States. I'm off my soapbox. I just wanted to share that. But on a different note, for those who missed last week's boys basketball game, Trustee Gomez, against Bishop No, 52-61, it was a thriller. We took the win with the final slam dunk by none other than Dominique Murphy, who has now made history. Literally, the last point was a slam dunk. As the leading scorer boys in the history of East Chicago, which was previously held by Etuan Moore since 2017. So be sure to come out and support our seniors. I believe they're having senior night this Friday, our basketball boys. So come out and support our basketball team. It's senior night this Friday. Let's keep that energy going. And lastly, a huge shout out to Ms. Padilla and her team, and of course, the amazing Harrison's Book Fairy. I thought that was so cute. The creativity and effort put into making reading fun and exciting for our students have been inspiring, and seeing the staff fully engaged and even bringing parents into the experience is exactly what education should be like: collaborative, engaging, and student-centered. So phenomenal job. I'm sure that this took a lot of planning, and honestly, it took me back to the Book It days. Anybody remember the Book It days? That was the only reason why we read a book, because pizza is my favorite food. So with that, I just want to say thank you. I conclude my remarks, and I leave you with one final thought. There's only 115 days until summer. Thank you.
Well, when they finish, there's not too much for me to say because they have said it all. But I do want to thank Mrs. Dr. Leslie for your presentation of giving our community some insight on what we do as when we do go out on these here conferences that we all attend for the National School Board Association. We try to come back and bring some suggestions back and ideas back to make our district a better district for our children. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Mrs. Hogan, for your presentation with your school students from Washington School, the magnificent program that they put on for Black History. Deborah Williams, top 20. I want to give a shout out to Mrs. Ransford that's sitting there, Mrs. Gonzalez, Mr. Van, Mrs. Green, CT, Mr. Van, Mr. Brown, Mr. Grayland, the new person, Mrs. Poe. I just want to shout out to all of those that is here. And yeah, Mrs. Gutierrez, yes, and Mrs. Tammy Poe, you know. But anyway, like I said, my colleagues have just addressed everything as far, not everything, but one thing that I do hate, that we do not have civics anymore in our schools. And that is one thing that Mrs. Smith said, know your history, because if you do not know your history, it's a lot of things that you're going to miss out on. And it's a lot of things that I'm learning. When I went to that Capitol, I seen some stuff in there that I just like, you know. But I was there, I was able to see it. And I was so glad that Mrs. Dr. Leanders brought presentations back for us. So I think that there are some things that every child needs to go and experience. When I was in school, I know we did go on these trips. We went to the Capitol, we went to Indianapolis, we learned the House bills and the Senate and what have you not. But our children now, that's not, but they do have it on their phones, but are they interested in it? Well, not until it affects them. But I just like to say that, and I thank our students that performed for us today. And I'm so glad that we are going to other schools so we can see the talent that our kids have. We were at Lincoln School with Mrs. Gonzalez. Her kids did a performance for us last week. So I'm glad to know that we are trying to catch up with some things that we need to do as a board. So I want to thank you all. And Black History, like I said, is 365 days. And thank you. So this concludes our meeting. The next school board meeting will be March 11th at the administration building. Can I get a motion for an adjournment?
Madam President, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second made by Trustee Rodriguez and second by Trustee Taylor. This concludes our meeting.
Roll call.
Roll call, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Smith? Yes. Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes.
Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Madam President, Gibson King?
Yes.